morning. I don't think I will ever get y'all to learn to enter rooms with your video off. I swear. It's like doing shows with 80-year-old women. So anyone who's seeing the screen grab when we go to share, there's nothing I can control about that. You see Tony's fat finger just right in front of the. It's like he's getting a manicure or something. But I even enter it into the thing where they don't come on with their video instantly, and then they still turn the damn thing on every day. Right. With all of y'all, it's unbelievable.
That's right. We got to check ourselves out.
It's just so stupid. But how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'd be better, but anyways, we are recording today because the U.S. Open, or sorry, the British Open, or the Open, as they like to call it now, begins tomorrow. Actually starts late tonight if you live out on the West Coast. So that's why we're doing the show today, because by the time this thing gets going, and we normally do this on Friday, we will be in the middle of round number 2. So my question to you, Tony, is an avid golf fan. How early do you wake up for the Open?
Well, we've got a 4-legged alarm clock that wakes us up at about 6:10 or 6:15 every morning. So that's about probably when I'll get up. I won't get up at 4 a.m. or anything like that, at least tomorrow or Friday. But yeah, that's one of the cool things about this tournament. As soon as you wake up, flip it on, and heck, half the guys are halfway through their morning round.
How often will you tune in on a Saturday? Because I know the people who are in contention on Sunday won't be playing till like 7-8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I'll probably get up Saturday. I've got plans at like 11, so in the morning. So, and we've got people, or we've got people coming to the house delivering stuff or whatnot. So I'll probably get up pretty early on Saturday, probably I don't know, 5:30, 6 o'clock, not like 3, but yeah, it's fun. And the cool thing too is it'll be over at like 3 or 4 on Saturday and Sunday, and you got the rest of the day to either go play golf or do whatever you need to do. So that's one of the cool things about the Open is the timing of it, and depending on where it's played, it could be done at noon or it could be done at 5 o'clock. But different venue. Links golf is usually fun. We haven't had it for a couple of years with no tournament last year, so definitely looking forward to it.
Now, your wife's a golf fan too, correct? Does she get up?
She'll watch it with me. She's not getting up at 5 a.m. I can tell you that.
Okay, that was kind of my question. No way in hell my wife is going to, because my wife won't even watch golf. I can't even get her to even, like, she'll just roll her eyes and go, golf again? Like, well, they play every week.
It depends on when Adam Scott's teeing off, but Adam's in the feature group, I think, with I want to say with Justin Thomas and I forget who the third is. It's a pretty loaded group that Adam Scott's in, but she'll root for him and see what happens.
Yeah, we got the tee times right here. Obviously, we won't dive into the entire lineage of them, because starting at 1:35 a.m. Eastern, you couldn't pick a better name to tee off first, Richard Bland, because I don't know how many people are actually going to be tuning in at 1:35 Eastern. But if you are out on the West Coast getting off work, it is something to tune into. But as far as I'm looking at this as tee times that matter to us, because there's no way we're going to catch the very first part of this. But let's just go ahead and skip all the way down. I'm going to go to 7:20 a.m. Tomorrow morning. Jason Day is teeing off. And then you got Patrick Harrington at 7:42, Tony Finau and Billy Horschel. That's a pretty good one at 7:53. Cantlay is at 8:04. Trying to scan some of the other ones. Keegan Bradley's at 9:04. All these times are Eastern. And Webb Simpson follows him. Phil Mickelson's at 9:48. So that's good it was smart for them to do that for the American viewing audience, to have him start at essentially 10 a.m. Scheffler and Ricky Fowler are together at 9:59, and you got Justin Thomas at 10:10 with Adam Scott, Rory McIlroy, which has, you know, worldwide appeal, and Patrick Reed at 10-21, and then that's enough of that. Anyways, how bad is it that there's so many golfers not going to play in this tournament? Do you think it's going to hurt the overall viewership, or is it not a big deal because it's not like it's Tiger Woods that's missing it?
I think the latter. I think you know, Bubba Watson's not playing. He's got a little bit of a following, but he's not a guy that's really made a big impact in the Open either. I don't really think he enjoys playing it all that much. It doesn't really fit his style at all. I know Zach Johnson is staying home, and that actually got former Gator Sam Horsfield in, who's done well on the Euro Tour. I think there's another guy I can't think of that.
Zach Johnson, I didn't see him. Was that by choice or was that COVID as well?
I think that was a little bit of both. They're making it hard. If you basically, like, if it's the Kevin Bacon rule here, if you want to try and get to this tournament, if, you know, the 7th guy in line tested for COVID and you shook his hand like 3 weeks ago, you can't make the trip. So it's made it tough on NBC too. I mean, NBC is only sending 24 people as opposed to like 250, and they're doing all their coverage back in Connecticut for this one, and they're using the RNA's cameras and Sky Sports. So we might actually see a little bit better coverage as far as camera work goes, because they like to do different angles when they show the Euro Tour. So but I think
the Scottish government, right? I said this is all because of the Scottish government. This isn't something that the company's doing, right? So
right, exactly, yeah. And this one, it's UK and England and everything else.
All into one, and everything that I don't see much specifically on Scotland, but if you watch the news, you constantly see it on Great Britain in general.
Right,
and
right.
They are in the middle of like a Canadian type draconian shutdowns where it's absurd. But I guess maybe they don't have access to the vaccines. Maybe that's the issue. I don't really understand why at this point, 6 months past the US, you know, really being open, why we're still having such big issues.
I know it is kind of weird. Especially
was weird because he said that he'd been vaccinated, but then he said that he had that not enough time had passed. And I was like, what is he talking about?
It's funky. And this one, Royal St. George, is just like I think it's about an hour east of London. It's the one site over there for the Open Championship that's actually close to London. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was weird, but, you know, like I said, the rules are different over there, I guess, for now. And next year, I would think we're back at normal and we won't have to worry about it. But
God, I don't think so. I mean, my God, it'd be well over a year after the vaccines that came out, and I know Great Britain had a good stake in those vaccines. So I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know if they're having a hard time distributing it or whatever it is, but evidently there's some kind of concern going on, and I don't know if it's overreaction to the Delta variant and all that junk that they're going to try to drum up. But for the tournament itself, it kind of sucks because some of the bigger names that aren't going to be over there, even if you're not fans of the particular players like the Bubba Watson, I know he's very polarizing. People either love him or hate him, but still he's a name, right? He's a name that you're like, damn, he's not going to be there either. And I wish I had the list in front of me. It crashed right as we were going on, so I don't even remember what side I was on. But anyways,
if I remember right, I think Matsuyama's won.
Yes, he is. And that was actually
which is crazy. You know, you always want to see the Masters champ, see if he can win 2 in a year, and this is the last one. You know, with PJ being back in May. So.
And there's also belief that he was focusing on the fact that he still is testing positive, but he's never had any symptoms, and it's like a month now. Okay,
right.
But he's focusing on the fact that he wants to be at the Olympics because it's in Tokyo, his home country, and he's obviously going to be one of the bells of the ball there during the opening ceremonies and whatnot. So I get that part.
I was reading the other day too, and I think Matsuyama's past the age, but if Japan happens to win the gold medal, everybody else who's on the squad with him, as far as on the golf team, doesn't have to, if they're young enough, they don't have to do military service if you've won a medal. in the Olympics or something quirky like that. So yeah, there are a few. I think it's a bigger deal to different countries as far as golf in the Olympics. I think in the U.S. and this is only the second Olympics recently that they've had golf. So I think Schauffele is one of the guys that representing the USA. I forget who else. I don't know if that might not even be settled yet, even though it's only a couple
But
weeks
that's
away.
something. They put a rifle in Matsuyama's hand because they go and decide to invade Turkey or something. He's like, dude, I've got like the Masters is this weekend. What are we doing over here?
I know, just like have him hit a grenade with like a pitching wedge from about 120 yards out, and he'll be deadly. But yeah, it should be a fun weekend. I think Royal St. George. It's only the rotation over there is different than the U.S. Open. I think they go about every 6 or 7 years to different places, maybe a couple years more. Over there, it's like 10, 12, 13 years. So it's been a while since it's been at St. George. Darren Clark won there in 2011. Ben Curtis surprised everybody in 2003. I think it's one of the quirkier courses that they have this on. It's a lot of blind shots. Some of the greens are huge. Some of the greens are postage stamp size. So you get a little bit of everything here. And I think it kind of brings everybody into it. The fairways kind of slope. And you know how like the old high school football fields used to be where felt like there was a 10-foot slope between the middle of the field and the sidelines. That's kind of how Royal St. George is.
Yes.
And bunkers up and down and
We used to play
all that. So
Glencliff every year. And yes, I do remember that.
yeah. So you almost can't see the other sideline because the crown and the field is so high.
They would always say that about the old, not the current, but the old Dallas Cowboys stadium. And it wasn't until I was out there playing football and understood what they meant by it. But they said that the old Dallas Cowboy stadium was almost like a crown to the point where, like, if you were standing at the right spot on the sidelines, all you could realistically see was Tom Landry's fedora. I was like, now that's a crown, man. That's
right.
A crown. Which makes a lot of sense why the Cowboys were known for the vertical threat, because Danny White talked about it years later. He said that we did a lot of deep passes down the sidelines because you didn't have to run up that hill.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What? So I know it's a really kooky field this year because of all the withdrawals. But who do you have for win, place, and show?
I don't like any of the Americans, to be honest with you, in this tournament. I think it's one that's kind of been dominated by guys from other countries, especially at this course particularly. But I'm going Tommy Fleetwood to win his first major. Finally, he's been playing really well lately, whether it's here or whether it's over there. Second, I'm going to stick with Victor Hovland. I wouldn't be shocked if he won this either. And then my three guy is, as much as I don't really care for him all that much, mostly because of what he's done in the Ryder Cup, Ian Poulter's played really well lately too, and this might be a good chance for him to break through. So those are my top three. If I am going to go with an American, I think it's either Dustin Johnson, who really hasn't played all that well lately, but he's got the temperament to overcome bad breaks, and I think that's what you need here. And then Webb Simpson would probably be my other American, maybe a Spieth as well. I know I just gave you six guys. Basically 3 Euros and 3 Americans, but for my top three, I like Fleetwood, Hovland, and then Poulter. Okay,
so correct me if I'm about to give you names of guys that are in the tournament. I think they're in them, but I haven't seen the most recent. I'm not playing, so I'm gonna go with Brooks Koepka. He is playing, yes. Right? Okay, because I did see his comments that he was going to put aside his rivalry with numbnuts during the Ryder Cup. Is the Ryder Cup this year?
Yes.
Okay. My number two, I think I'll go with Rory. I'm going chalk as far as names. I'm going to go Rory. I would think that he would have a pretty good advantage just because of the fact that it's over in his neck of the woods. But the reason why I got Koepka winning it is because I just think he's playing really good golf. The stronger that leg gets, I just feel like he's going to be due. And then my number three, just because he played so well, and he says here he's got 2 Irish Open victories, is John Rahm. So I'm going to take 2 non-Americans and 1 American. Go Seminoles.
Yeah, all 3 of those guys are in. I like all 3 of those guys. It took me everything I had not to put Rory in my top three. I wish he'd have made the cut last week. I'd feel a little bit better about him, but I do think, you know, he's obviously he plays well over there. He missed the cut at the last British Open, but the last 5 starts, I think he's been like top 15 or so, and of course he won it in 2014. Still, the only reason I didn't pick Koepka is Koepka is the opposite of Rory. Koepka is great 1, 2, and 3, and then round 4 he's kind of faded out a little bit this year in majors, where McIlroy can't get out of his own way in round 1, and then he'll play well in 2, 3, and 4. So if those two can combine, they'll finish 1 and 2 if they can put their games together.
Don't you think Koepka fading off has got to do with his knee though? And
absolutely, yeah, 100%.
It's better. There's another name that keeps popping up, and if I was going to have a number 4, just because I see too many people predicting him to either win it or at least be in it, and I find it interesting because he's not. He is a name. Don't get me wrong, but he's not like one of the go-to names when people think of the top tier of golf. But he's definitely has made a name in his own right in Lee Westwood. I'm seeing. I looked at a bunch of predictions last night and then a different page today, and his name is all over people's predictions to at least be in the top 4, if not win the whole damn thing.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome story too. Kind of similar to when Darren Clark won it there in 2012, where he was a guy that, you know, had come close a few times and has the resume, except just missing that one thing and having that major. So that'd be a very similar storyline to Clark, and it'd be awesome. It's same kind of similar to Poulter. I think Westwood's got a couple more years on Poulter, but I don't think it's a giant gap. And you know, he'd be a fun champion too. That's why I think it's going to be a guy that hasn't won one yet. I think this course tends to bring that out of people. And but I like all your picks too. We were talking about Rahm. About the only reason I didn't pick him is just because it's tough to win U.S. Open and the Open in the same year. So just the odds against that. But he's playing phenomenal as well. He's got the game that could win here also. It's just some of the guys like that you would pick in tournaments over here. Like I don't think Justin Thomas is going to win this tournament. I don't think DeChambeau is going to be able to like bash and gash his way to winning this tournament. Like I said, you're going to get bad breaks here. You're going to have to take your lumps, and some guys are better at doing that than others. So, and Rahm's won his major now, so he can actually calm down a little bit. Like he's one of the guys up until this year that's had a short fuse and never really dealt with adversity all this well. But once you get that one major, you can. I think some of these guys can settle in and just play golf and not live and die with every shot.
Yeah, exactly. He does seem like the type of. It's so funny because he looks, he's a doppelganger for a good friend of mine that I hung out for years. He also has his temperament. Like this guy would get a few beers and just start getting like
right.
God, which I'm pretty sure they were separated at birth. But yeah, I think I've said this before, but this is my favorite major. It always has been. A lot of it has to do with the fact that being in the restaurant business for years, this was the one major I could watch before it hit the fan on Sundays at work, right? And so you could get up in the morning, you could drink your coffee. Even when you got to work, we would have this on, we would be locked in. So this is still my favorite major because of the time that it tends to go off. As much as I liked the Masters and the US Open and whatnot, it sucks that some of those, you know, for people that work 9 to 5s, you miss the majority of the everything that goes on. And also the cool thing about the British Open is when the British Open ends on Saturday and Sunday, it's the middle of July. You still go hang out by the pool, do whatever you have to do, and not get yelled at by the wife. Go, God, you're watching that again? And I'm always like, just so you know, your ears are always burning around Sunday because it's Tony's fault. I was like, I never watched this much golf until Tony Tony came around.
Well, I can tell you this too with the Open. HD helped this tournament more than I think any other sporting event out there, especially with golf, because I know when I was a kid, and this is before I was really into golf, like it would come on, you know, first thing in the morning like it does now, and everything looked so brown and so grainy and just so crappy all the time. And part of it's the weather, but it was just the TV broadcast back then. But now with HD, I mean, these courses, you can see the undulation, you can see the hills, you can see every grain of grass right now. And I think it's really, really helped the Open Championship, because it used to look like the most dull thing on television. And now you watch it, it's as close to a tournament being here as you can get, really, even though it's much different conditions. You know, this course too is being where it's located. A lot of these courses where they have this are right close to the water, so you can have a rainstorm on the front nine and the back nine's bone dry, and then they flip flop, and the weather's so unpredictable here because it comes so fast. So HD's really helped it.
Yeah, even back then, what you're referring to, I think I still liked it because of the fact that I realized that this is where golf it all began, right?
Right.
And so it looked real. It looked like it wasn't manicured and whatnot, but it is a good point. I think one of the reasons why the Masters has always been so popular is because the timing of it, and spring has sprung, and usually the Masters just looks phenomenal. It's not just the greenery, but you got the flowers and everything
Right.
else. Even back before HD, it popped off the screen. So yeah, the US Open was always the ugly stepchild because they're like, oh man, this thing. But I don't know why, but I was always drawn to it because I was like, this is really cool, especially when they would tell the stories of this is where such and such happened like 400 years ago. And you're like, you believe they were out there smacking balls around with sticks 400 years ago?
Right.
So moving on from that, before we have to dip out of here, the Florida Gators, they were had quite a few kids drafted, and the first one that comes off the board, I believe, was Fabian Judd. It is Judd Fabian, right?
Right.
To the Boston Red Sox. Was there someone before him? Because that's the thing that I see. I thought they had a first rounder scheduled.
Yeah, that was Judd. He was
okay.
Dropped a little bit. It's some of these guys dropped really because of where they're where the teams that draft them are slotted to spend. Like that's the biggest reason why like the Kumar Rocker dropped and people were going nuts. He dropped all the way to 10th. Of course, he ends up with the Mets. But anyway, and that might have been part of it with Fabian. I think Fabian is going to go. There was a little bit of thought last week that if he wasn't in the top like 2 or 3 rounds that he might stick around and play with his brother, but I think he's slotted for over $2 million with that pick if the Red Sox will do it. So, yeah, Fabian to the Red Sox at 40th, Mace to the Indians at 69th, which was a nice pick for the Indians. Hickey, the catcher, well, he's going to be a first baseman probably at the major league level. He was taken 136th. Christian Scott to the Mets. Jacob Young, who may come back, but I doubt it. He's already graduated, so I think he's kind of ready probably to move on and play baseball and see what happens. To the Nationals, Leftwich to the Indians, Alamon to the Indians. It's funny when these drafts happen. I don't know if it's just the Gators because they're the ones I follow the most, but like you'll have years where like the A's will take 3 Gators, like the A's took Puck and a few other guys one year, and then the Royals take Singer and Kowar. The Indians took 3 Gators in this draft. The Mets took a couple. They kind of get clumped together, it seems like, with teams. I think
tells you where their scouts have been spending most of
scout connections and who's seen them play and all that stuff.
Right.
So.
Fabian, yeah, that's interesting because Fabian, from what I remember, had a really good year. I'm a little surprised he fell that far.
Yeah, the knock on him, he was great defensively. His defensive errors were balls that no other center fielder could really get to. Like he had a couple, like he got roasted by the fans for a couple of flyouts in the regionals or SEC tournament, but he was fast enough to put himself in position to make that error. Like a lot that would have been in the gap for a lot of plays. I think at the plate was the problem where he was either home run or strikeout, hit or miss. Right. But that's what Major League Baseball kind of is to a point right now. Too. Exactly. So I don't know. But yeah, I think he'll go. His brother will be good too at Florida, but it'd be good to get a couple of these guys back for another year, but they're probably all gonna
even if he's not outstanding at center field, they'll put him in left, and as long as
you can hide him.
Exactly. One interesting note, 20 rounds, all 20 all 20 picks this week. The LA Angels went straight pitching.
Wow.
And 19 of those 20 pitchers, 19 of those 20 pitchers were from college baseball. They were so in other words, they're trying to rebuild their pitching staff quickly. They're not looking to develop anything. We are up on time. Actually ran past a little bit. What is your walk off for the day?
Man, I'm geeked for the tournament. You know, we'll see what happens with the NBA Finals. I haven't really locked into that yet. Every time I turn it on, somebody's up 12, and just kind of, you know, plodding through it. There's not a lot of superstar power in this NBA Finals, but I'll watch it probably moving forward.
It's gonna be hard to watch both because one's gonna end at 1 a.m. and the other one's gonna start at 2 a.m. So it's gonna be hard to lock into both.
Yeah, we'll burn a hole through the TV this weekend, and hopefully it'll be a fun Open Championship with some drama.
All right, brother. Well, we'll see you next Friday. Great job, and hopefully we get good weather so we don't get delays and stuff like that. That's always a worry over across the pond, as they say.
Sounds good, man. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.